War protests erupted in major cities across the country, including New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles. The protests argue that war is not what the American people want.
And he's trying to put boots on the ground in Iran. His strikes killed dozens of people, some hitting an all-girls school.
We have to loudly and clearly oppose this war. Innocent Iranians are already dying.
We stand with all nations, the resistance of nations against U.S. imperialism, and we call for an end of military aggression against Iran.
There were similar protests in the Bay Area, including Walnut Creek in Oakland. Hundreds of people out in opposition of the military operations in Iran.
I mean, for me, it's very personal as an Iranian American with family in Iran. I grew up going there every year, so it's really heartbreaking to see bombs fall on a place that's so dear to your heart.
What we're seeing play out now has been a culmination of many weeks of failed talks, but even more than that, like decades of U.S.-Israeli imperialist scheming on Iran.
And there was a big protest in San Francisco, a local reaction to the Ayatollah's death, the ongoing operations that has been continuing.
Feed the people, not the war! Feed the people, not the war!
These people showed up outside the San Francisco Federal Building Saturday in protest of the U.S. strikes on Iran. Dubbed Operation Epic Fury, the joint mission was carried out by the U.S. and Israel. For weeks, the White House had announced American forces were gathering in the region, even while diplomatic talks were ongoing.
I think it's going to be difficult to have any sort of organized response or plan moving forward if it's not clear who's in a leadership position. People of Iran, they're already fighting on multiple fronts.
Since 1979, Iran has been ruled by an Islamic regime. Their supreme leader, the Ayatollah, was Ali Khamenei, considered a brutal dictator who killed thousands of his own people. He'd been in power for almost 40 years. His compound in Iran was destroyed.
Anytime a leader is toppled, it's going to create a power vacuum within a nation, especially one that already was experiencing division like Iran was shortly before the United States and Israel attacked. We saw those protests in the street. Those tend to be a clear sign of division in the society.
People of Iranian descent are reacting across the world. Those against the Ayatollah have been celebrating the military operation. Others protest the attacks and American involvement. The professor argues the move from the Trump administration is against what the American people want, including his political base.
Trump is kind of in a unique situation in the sense that one of the things that really galvanized a lot of supporters in the conservative movement behind him is he was one of the only voices in the presidential run in 2016 to call out the Iraq War as a mistake. This launched the America First movement, which he symbolized. And America First was based on this idea of no more foreign wars. And this seems like he's going back on that.
Governor Newsom posted on X, the leadership of Iran must go, but that does not justify the president engaging in an illegal, dangerous war that will risk the lives of our American service members and our friends without justification to the American people. President Trump is putting Americans at risk abroad because he is unpopular at home. The professor echoed a similar sentiment.
In the short term, people are generally really supportive of war. A lot of the pro-war voices will come out and try and get as much of the media time as possible. The public will be all enthusiastic for war. But then the reality of war sets in. In a place like Iraq, for example, where we partook in regime change, that meant putting U.S. soldiers on the ground for years. Something like that in Iran is going to be much bigger. It's a bigger piece of land. It's got a way larger population. That's going to take a lot more U.S. troops if we go that route.